Death is not the opposite of life, but a part of it. Haruki Murakami. We all die. The goal isn't to live forever, the goal is to create something that will. Chuck Palahniuk. That it will never come again is what makes life so sweet. Emily Dickinson. It is not length of life, but depth of life. Ralph Waldo Emerson. To the well-organized mind, death is but the next great adventure. Joanne Rowling. People living deeply have no fear of death. Anais Nin. Live your life, do your work, then take your hat. Henry David Thoreau. For life and death are one, even as the river and the sea are one. Khalil Gibran. A man with outward courage dares to die, a man with inner courage dares to live. Lao Tzu. No one is actually dead until the ripples they cause in the world die away. Terry Pratchett. He who is not busy being born is busy dying. Bob Dylan. Tell your friend that in his death, a part of you dies and goes with him. Wherever he goes, you also go. He will not be alone. Jiddu Krishnamurti. Whatever you want to do it now. There are only so many tomorrows. Michael Landon. Mostly it is loss which teaches us about the worth of things. Arthur Schopenhauer. As soon as you'll realize it was a gift, you'll be free. Maxime Lagache. As a well-spent day brings happy sleep, so life well used brings happy death. Leonardo da Vinci. Our dead are never dead to us, until we have forgotten them. George Eliot. Death is a challenge. It tells us not to waste time. It tells us to tell each other right now that we love each other. Leo Buscaglia. What we have once enjoyed deeply we can never lose. All that we love deeply becomes a part of us. Helen Keller. I don't want to die without any scars. Chuck Palahniuk. A normal human being does not want the kingdom of heaven, he wants life on earth to continue. George Orwell. They say you die twice. One time when you stop breathing and a second time, a bit later on, when somebody says your name for the last time. Banksy. Man cannot possess anything as long as he fears death. But to him who does not fear it, everything belongs. Leo Tolstoy. You'll drift apart, it's true, but you'll be out in the open, part of everything alive again. Philip Pullman. Death is a distant rumor to the young. Andrew Aitken Rooney. Maybe all one can do is hope to end up with the right regrets. Arthur Miller. Goodbyes are only for those who love with their eyes. Because for those who love with heart and soul there is no such thing as separation. Rumi. What would life be worth if there were no death? Who would enjoy the sun if it never rained? Who would yearn for the day if there were no night? Glenn Ringft. It matters not how a man dies, but how he lives. The act of dying is not of importance, it lasts so short a time. Samuel Johnson. Everybody wants to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die. Our minds are too small to comprehend something as huge as death. Let it go. Maxime Lagache. Death commences too early, almost before you're half acquainted with life, you meet the other. Tennessee Williams. Do not fear death so much but rather the inadequate life. Bertolt Brecht. Neither fire nor wind, birth nor death can erase our good deeds. Buddha. The boundaries which divide life from death are at best shadowy and vague. Who shall say where the one ends, and where the other begins? Edgar Allan Poe. Why should I fear death? If I am, death is not. If death is, I am not. Why should I fear that which cannot exist when I do? Epicurus. Death never takes the wise man by surprise, he is always ready to go. Jean de La Fontaine. It is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live. Marcus Aurelius. Death is nothing, but to live defeated is to die every day. Napoleon Bonaparte. Cowards die many times before their deaths, the valiant never taste of death but once. William Shakespeare. No one really knows why they are alive until they know what they'd die for. Martin Luther King Jr. If you're not ready to die for it, take the word freedom out of your vocabulary. Malcolm X. Death is the destination we all share. No one has ever escaped it. And that is as it should be, because death is very likely the single best invention of life. It is life's change agent, it clears out the old to make way for the new. Steve Jobs. The fear of death follows from the fear of life. A man who lives fully is prepared to die at any time. Mark Twain. The fear of death is the most unjustified of all fears, for there's no risk of accident for someone who's dead. Albert Einstein. I'm not afraid to die, I just don't want to be there when it happens. Woody Allen. You needn't die happy when your time comes, but you must die satisfied, for you have lived your life from the beginning to the end. Stephen King. While I thought that I was learning how to live, I have been learning how to die. Leonardo da Vinci. If we lose love and self-respect for each other, this is how we finally die. Maya Angelou. Death is nothing else but going home to God, the bond of love will be unbroken for all eternity. Mother Teresa. Death is so terribly final, while life is full of possibilities. George Raymond Richard Martin. To die will be an awfully big adventure. Peter Pan. It is the secret of the world that all things subsist and do not die, but retire a little from sight and afterwards return again. Ralph Waldo Emerson. My mama always used to tell me, if you can't find something to live for, you best find something to die for. Tupac Shakur. I'm the one that's got to die when it's time for me to die, so let me live my life the way I want to. Jimi Hendrix. Death is no more than passing from one room into another. But there's a difference for me, you know. Because in that other room I shall be able to see. Helen Keller. The highest tribute to the dead is not grief but gratitude. Thornton Wilder. Death is not extinguishing the light, it is only putting out the lamp because the dawn has come. Rabindranath Tagore. If life must not be taken too seriously, then so neither must death. Samuel Butler. Let life be beautiful like summer flowers and death like autumn leaves. Rabindranath Tagore. By becoming deeply aware of our mortality, we intensify our experience of every aspect of life. Robert Greene. Death and pain are windows to great insight if you have the strength to look through them. James Pierce. I discovered to my joy that it is life, not death, that has no limits. Gabriel Garcia Marquez. Death? Be as proud as you want, bore me later, because love is sovereign here. Life never ends. Joy comes in the morning. Glory hallelujah. And let it be so. En Lamotte.